Hello everyone, my name is Taya Bonicos and with you today we're doing fashion reality check. As a new entrepreneur in fashion, I'm on the path to explore the fashion industry and understand ins and outs of it. And from my humble perspective of building up a brand, there are so many things that I'm learning as I go, and I hope to share it with you. So hopefully some of my insights will be helpful for you to understand on your perhaps fashion journey as well. So today it's just interview with myself, and I want to talk about the fashion perspective on general. And one of the key realization that I think young people do have, and I have it myself, is what's the point of fashion? I mean, do we really need it? It's like, is that on the global scale really important to dress up? And what's the point? I mean, it's not the climate change. We're not doing anything big or of value, of severe importance. And that's kind of a feeling I used to have before, because we're not providing anything that is controversially changing the reality or making the world to a better place. But then I had a aha moment, like many of us do. And my aha moment was when I was watching recently, when I was watching latest Dior show in Seville, and it was just so grander and it felt bigger than life, and it felt like a huge movement, theater, cinema inspiration, and that really made me realize, so by that first fashion and trend and dynamic, what it does, it sets up inspiration and tone to the new trend, to the new fashion season, and then we see how it affects everyone actually, and then it becomes what everyone wearing, and how the world is looking, because like some days, some fashion season, everything is dark and grey and uniformed, but then some seasons when you see especially color and you see different dynamic, you see everyone looking different, and then by looking different, by bringing coloring, by feeling more joy within yourself or how you show up in the world, that really creates a different and dynamic of our social cultural element. And that's actually why fashion has a bigger meaning, if you don't think so yet. So for me it's very important to understand that, because when you have a bigger drive, like every one of us do, when you do something and you understand it has a bigger purpose, it gives you this extra energy and strength and bigger purpose to do that. So on my journey of the brand that I'm working with, this is SERENA. SERENA handbags is, we had to do really a lot of backstage work, which is evident. But for me, it's when I started to create this brand and handbags. A handbag is one of those things that it's like whatever is your lifestyle as a woman, even if you don't dress up much, if you don't have such an extensive wardrobe and your wardrobe is very functional, handbag is like a staple of your wardrobe, almost like a watch for men, where it symbolizes your status. Also as we all do associate with brands, it's like, what do you stand for? And for me, as mom of two, the reality is when you're running around with the kids and it's just really easy to be in your trainers all day long, and it doesn't really matter what it's like, you just wear your sports gear. But having a nice handbag is nevertheless a must, because when you invite it out and you go out and then you want to complete your look with a handbag, and your look can be anything, mix and match of different brands, and vintage pieces are fantastic. And I've wanted to create a bag that is both timeless and of a really high quality, but also can be quite joyful and fresh. So that's how we ended up with this design, with our trapeze design, which is inspired by, funnily enough, by Egyptology and pyramids, because I was always a huge fan. And but that's also a very classic shape of any handbag. I mean, you know, it's not a rocket science. It's a handbag. But this handbag, for example, it's called Lytton. So this is something that you can take with you and carry through all day, like for the morning, for daytime meetings, and then even when you go out. So it's still like a good size, and really we made sure that our leather is both durable and high quality, and you give this nice feel and touch. And interior is lamb nappa, which is just, you know, especially when these pieces age, they look fantastic, even better when they're new. So for me, it's very important to have, if you're bringing a new product into the world, so that product has to be really of a great quality. Bring in both element of joy, element of life, but also, you know, it's both. You have to cover sustainability, durability, and this item has to last. That's one of the reasons why the brand is called SERENA, which is, if you didn't know, it's the name of my sweet little daughter. And the idea is this is something that you can pass on to next generation. So this is, in a nutshell, my kind of pre-story on the fashion, and a bigger perspective why fashion is actually very important. And I think often in skeptical mind we can underestimate it, but it's all about the feeling, and the feeling of yourself and how you feel in society with others. And fashion really gives you tools to both for practicality, but also stand out perspective, and just build up your inner personality. And there are multiple talks, TED Talks about fashion. There is a lot of research, and how you put, historically even, you put the big gear on yourself, like a armor, shiny armor in the morning, and then you're ready to conquer the world. That's usually with the combination of fashion and makeup. So yeah, I think if you're skeptical about fashion and you still think it's, it's a waste of time, just give yourself, have a challenge. Like, if you're the person who doesn't really care, just get up and put on anything that is just practical. Like, give yourself 7 days as a transformation, like making every day a bit more effort, and see how you feel after those 7 days. Because believe me, you're just gonna activate another part of your brain and functionality, and another part of your inner self that will feel pretty great. With the fashion and importance in setting up trend. So we just now got back from Dubai Fashion Week, and it was a huge milestone for SERENA as a brand, because we've never done that before, and putting ourselves into global fashion arena in the event like that. As we know, there is Dubai Fashion Week, there is Milan Fashion Week, Paris, London. It's really a big deal, because you suddenly transitioning from being just something online brand, and there are many of them now, to something that other people in fashion world noticing you and understanding that you're building up yourself as a brand that is here to stay. And we have an incredible experience, really. We were an official Dubai Fashion Week calendar between Stella McCartney and Ferragamo. I mean, this is really kind of a big deal, a huge deal for me. And we had a really great welcome of the products, and all of our guests were able to, hold the bags, play around with them. With a product like this, and of the premium product, it's all about the feel, the touch, the smell, details of because color, and maybe you can see how this is really very pretty, but when you have that feeling, it is nothing like nothing like on the picture. And so people were able to really, have a great photos with the product and give us some feedback. And we had some new styles that we were presenting that is still kind of not yet a sneak peek, maybe soon I give it to you. But it's really giving that dynamic and fashion perspective. So now, as a big part of Fashion Week, then you can see that is a trend that can be carried from now on. If we are now in Fashion Week in spring, so that means it's autumn-winter collections. So that's something you have to, if you're unfamiliar with that, the fashion calendar is really classically actually can have up to 4 points, but now there are 2 time frames of buying, and it's usually December, January, and that's for the buyers, and that's when we have Fashion Weeks, and then we have also June, July. And for June, July, people pre-selling and buying collection for June, July, people buying the collection for the next year, and what's happening in spring, this is autumn, winter. So really kind of quite advanced, and the whole collection, usually the time frame of a classic collection in both clothing and accessories as well, is 6 months, because really when you get pre-orders, you have to, fashion takes time, and that's another important point with the fast fashion. When it doesn't take time, that's where a lot of problems happening in the fashion industry, with the pressure on quick production, with the pressure on sourcing materials, and really figuring out very quick solution to satisfy that consumerism that happens at the end. So this is, I think, something that has to change in fashion, and I think it is changing now, and a lot of brands are talking about introducing not just sectioned collection for seasons, but having more generic collection, and that's what we do at SERENA as well. We have a classic core collection that is available all year round, that works all year round, and classic collection would be something like beige, caramel, red, and then you can have some seasonal trendy colors. That is because things change, and you can see like it's almost like with the air, you can, when it's spring, you want color, you want be maybe green, you want to be pink, and it just gives you a little bit more playfulness. And this is our classic, for example, color of red. So this is in a classic collection, and this red is great because red steel is so intense, but very classic. You can't go wrong. Any age, you can't go wrong with red. Red is fantastic. It's almost like having a red handbag, gearing away, but having a red handbag is like having a red lipstick. It's, it works for everyone, right? And so I tried to make some review on as the event was happening, and there is a little bit of glimpse you can see into event and behind the scenes. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you find it helpful and useful and inspiring maybe on your own fashion journey. And remember to press like, subscribe, all of those things, very important. And thank you once again, and see you next time. Ciao!